This should be quick and easy, but we only have a 5-person committee, so we do have a quorum with 3. And that was established a month or so ago. Good evening to everybody, and welcome to the September 28th, 2021 Conservation Commission meeting. We're gonna go to new business right away because old business is not prevalent right now. And the new business would be the filing of a notice of intent for SE 084-547 to construct a 2-story, 4-unit residential building, associated parking, access roadways, and site grading within a 100-foot buffer zone of bordering vegetated wetlands at 380 Brockton Ave, filed by Brockton Ave Trust. And I assume you're Ryan.
So I'm Austin. I'm Austin Chardy with McKenzie Engineering. Ryan's the project engineer. He did a lot of work on the project.
Okay,
But I'm here to represent Brockton Ave Realty Trust, who's the applicant.
okay.
So yeah, we filed the notice of intent with the Abington Concom and Mass DEP for proposed building development within a buffer zone of a wetland, bordering vegetated wetland. The wetland was flagged by Brad Holmes of ECR in April of this year. The parcel, 380 Brockton Ave, it's on Route 123 heading towards Brockton, right next to Portofino's. It's about a half-acre parcel of land with about 8,000 square feet of wetland along the back. It's the kind of the orange area shown on the plan here. So it's on Route 23. It's a highway capacity district. It's zoned as, highway commercial district. So it does require a zoning, special permit through zoning for residential. So we filed that special permit with zoning. We presented earlier this month. We also filed for site plan review with planning board. We also presented earlier this month. Both of them had hesitations voting on it based on going through conservation. As you may or may not know, there was an order of condition issued back in 2006 on this property for a very similar project. It was a 4-unit building, but they were 1-bedroom instead of 2-bedroom. So as part of that order of conditions, they did begin site work out here. So the site is disturbed back in 2006. So we were kind of using that design as a guideline for this, trying to meet their limits of work and replication areas that were approved. That project in 2005 was proposing some filling of wetlands, which was partially done based on the wetland lines that we flagged out there versus 2005. Either way, we're holding the wetlands line. We're not touching it. As part of this project, there'll be no fill of wetlands. It is a tightly constrained site. The highway commercial district has a 40-foot front yard setback. And of course, we're constrained by the wetland in the rear. As part of the planning board discussions we had, we discussed basically building a retaining wall, essentially along the wetland line in the rear, just to prevent any creep over time of the residents who are living there and filling up the, putting their stuff or whatever they might do back there to kind of delineate from the wetland versus their property for use. So yeah, I mean, as part of the NOI, we completed a full stormwater report in accordance with stormwater management. We capture and treat up to and including the 100-year storm event through catch basins and trench drains. So it decreases peak rates of flow and runoff from the site towards the wetlands. Essentially, as part, we wanted to come here tonight to present just to kind of get a better idea of the commission's stance on the replication area that was approved in 2005 but never completed. That order had lapsed in 2009. The work wasn't completed for economical reasons. So as part of this project, we're not filling any wetlands or anything like that, but as a gesture of good faith, the applicant wants to essentially restore the replication area that was approved back in 2005. So that was kind of the delay of this hearing. I can flip to the... This is the plan from 2005 that was approved by the Abington Conservation Commission. The dark line that you see there is the limit of work, the limit of fill. I actually have a better plan here. So this was the replication area in the rear of the site. And for this fill of wetland here, they're filling here, replicating back here. The work was done, it was never approved. Sorry.
Okay,
want the
there's an
easel over
easel
there?
right here for you, sir.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Here you go.
Thanks. But so this plan shows it better. This shows that same limit of work that was approved here. You can see some of the flow was done when they started construction in 2006. But the red and the blue you see here, the red is the old wetland line that was delineated in 1999, and the blue is what was flagged this year by Brad Holmes. So basically, we're staying off that blue line. That's going to be our limit of work, the bordering vegetated wetland, and what you see in green up there is what Brad Holmes is thinking the restoration area is going to be based on what he saw out there. We have to still finalize that plan, but that's what we were thinking. And that's basically my spiel.
Yeah, because anything that was done in 2005, it's null and void.
Exactly.
So.
It is.
We'd have to have a new replication plan, and.
So, yeah,
Well,
exactly. Because that order of the order from 2005 or 6 lapsed, it technically was never approved. So, but we actually were involved in that project as well, so we basically said, hey, they're gonna wanna see this, so it is, you know,
Was that an open order of conditions?
yes.
Has the certificate of compliance been,
No, so the project was never done, and it just lapsed.
yeah, you still have to come in for a certificate of compliance on it, because it's against your deed. You know
Okay,
that? Yeah, that'll be against your deed. So you wanna get, it's a no-brainer, it's work that wasn't done. But you
right,
do need a certificate of compliance on that DEP number.
okay, I'll have to look into that. I wasn't aware that you needed to,
It's a simple, you just present the fact that no work had been done, and it says right on where you're requesting a certificate of compliance, right on the
Okay.
certificate of compliance, no work was done, so we just will sign off on it.
okay,
That's only for your own paperwork, as far as, doesn't mean anything to us, but you can't
sell
You
it.
can't do this project, you can't get a new notice of intent, right?
Closes out the other.
Yes, yeah, that's, my other question is, how far, I can't see the blue line.
Yes.
Where's the,
How close is
where are
that?
the flags?
It's real
Is
close.
this,
It's hard.
So,
is it this page right here? Is
I don't
this the
know.
wetlands?
This is the wetlands here.
yeah, on those plans, so that structure is 6.5 feet off the wetland, and there's a 2-foot overhang above for the second floor, and that's about 5.2 feet off.
I can tell you right now by our, what do you call it? You gotta be, I think, 25 feet. We have a, excuse me? It's actually in the, bylaws. Our bylaw. I don't know
Yeah,
if I
so
can find it right
nowhere
away.
in the bylaws did I see anything about the 25-foot no disturb. I don't know if I don't have the most recent one.
That was, I actually made,
The binder's right here.
I made
You should-
copies for everybody because
Yep.
the same question came up with board members a few months ago, and I know it's in there at 25 foot,
Okay,
okay?
Yeah,
You can
talked
re-
about it in the July meeting we talked about it.
Yes, you can You can request to work in, but you can't build within 25 feet.
Okay. And when did that go into effect?
Oh, that's been in effect for a long time. I just know it. We'll try to find it for you so that you can have it.
Do you want to borrow my copy?
Say again? You have it there?
Yeah.
You can, no, just show it to him right there. That'd be fine.
Yeah, because the regulation that I saw said something about, 20 feet, but it was not a notice there.
Maybe it is 20, but I know that there is a setback regulation.
Let me just ask you, I'll bring it over to you, because I think this is what I might be talking about. Was it this one?
Yeah. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, this is something different. I guess we do not. This is where the 20 feet came.
I had the, yeah, it might be that one, but it might be something else.
No, there's no, this is what I was, it's 175.5C. And that actually is for river and ponds and lakes, so I apologize. We do not have a setback. You're right. That was-
Yeah,
that was-
I
that
thought
was for
20,
rivers and
I
ponds.
did see that, and it,
Yeah.
it doesn't say anything about no disturb or no structure zone, so.
Okay.
But yeah, so to answer the question, it's about 5 feet off, and the reason, we did our best to obviously respect the wetland, but with the 40-foot front yard, highway commercial setback, it is a tight site. As part of the stormwater system, it's gonna be proprietary structures with, sump catch basins going into a subsurface infiltration basin. So you'll meet your 80% TSS removal, and, so the groundwater recharge will be clean water.
So that isolated wetlands that's on that property, because it's surrounded by other buildings,
So you're not submitting any plans tonight with that replication and so forth in here, right?
Not tonight, no.
Okay,
wetlands subject to flooding.
okay, I understand.
But so it is flagged as bordering vegetated wetland, it is connected. Brad Holmes flagged that, I can't speak too well to it, but I think it is connected, in the rear of the rear of the site.
How recent was that last partners report, though?
That's April 2021, so April of this
Okay.
year.
Okay.
We were out in May, we did some test pits out there for the subsurface drainage system. And you can see it's some fill over an old, it's filled wetland essentially, going back years when they built the highway, they probably filled the site. But,
And you realize that this board does not have anything to do with the stormwater management?
yep,
There's another stormwater management committee?
Yeah, so we have-
Which is the planning board?
yep, so we received comments from Norwood Engineering as part of the planning board review, which we are in the process of addressing. So basically our goal, because planning board and zoning kind of were hindering on conservation, we wanted to come here and present and get your input on the plan and anything you wanted to see in terms of protecting the wetland based on what we're showing. And then we were gonna resubmit plans to zoning, planning, and yourself.
Do you have room, just, it would make things, I think, easier for everybody? Do you have room to do a 2-to-1 replication out there?
So we're not filling any wetland. So the 2-to-1 replication is, we don't need to do any replication technically if we just treat this as a standalone project, because we're not filling any wetland.
So why you have a replication map out there?
So it's because of that old order of conditions. There was some back and forth, I think at some point about, because that was approved, the wetland line in red is from 2005. There was some work done on the site and there was some wetland filled. That order of conditions was never closed out and it lapsed. So there was some wetland filled, not as part of this new development. So we're basically, it is kind of confusing. So there was some wetland filled that was addressed in a replication plan. That wetland that was filled, the entirety of that wetland was not filled. So we were gonna meet the replication plan of that 2005 plan as basically
that's
saying,
la- That's lapsed.
right, it is
So
lapsed.
It's.
So,
you
yeah,
would-
I mean, if we wanted to close out that previous one through.
You would, my suggestion would be close the previous one out,
Yeah,
and then come back with something brand new, and if you don't have to replicate,
right,
don't tell us about replication.
okay.
But if they filled in wetlands from that old order, shouldn't they replicate? I think that's why he's showing that on this plan, right? To basically follow through with,
Yeah, that was the
He
intent of
can't-
it, yeah.
He can't now, because that order of condition has lapsed. So he'd have to, this is gonna
Right, I
sound a little
understand.
confusing.
I totally get what you're saying, and I had the same thought process too, is should we just treat it totally separate?
You're gonna have to come through and ask us for a new notice of intent to complete the wetlands replication.
Right,
Then we'll give you an order of conditions, and then you'll finish it, and then you'll come back and we'll give you a certificate of compliance.
right.
Then
So
we'll,
if we-
then we'll start with this project.
The old stuff, if we tie that up and wrap that up, then this will
Yes.
just be totally separate and there's no
Yes.
fill of wetland.
So what you wanna do is bring back all the information from 2005. Let us look at what you're gonna do. I know it won't be a completed project, but what you're gonna do with the replication,
Yep,
because like Paul said, you've already disturbed some wetlands and it has to be replicated. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. That okay? Okay.
Peter Fiore,
Can you just come up,
yeah,
please?
so just to clarify is that we did fill some wetlands and we did do some replication out and back, so the area was all dug out. We just didn't do the
it
planting.
did get closed out.
Yeah, so we're just gonna do the planting and then bring that back.
I understand, but
Yeah, yeah.
what you have to do is, because that notice of intent has lapsed.
Yep.
You just have to come through real quick and get another, basically bring in your original notice of intent with only doing the replication, that you're not gonna do any building. You understand, so that you can complete the original notice of, because we cannot give you a certificate of compliance on that because it's not done.
Yep,
But
okay.
there has been some disturbance.
So finish what was proposed.
Yep.
Back then,
The
the replication and the fill.
yeah,
Which is essentially what we were kind of doing here, it's just in a different,
Yeah. we're gonna-
right, but we,
we're
I'm trying to mush them together and they
Kind
are
of,
two
yeah.
right,
separate
it's
issues.
gotta be
Right.
two separate issues, okay? Because it's two separate DEP numbers.
Yep.
So,
right.
and then once that's done, we can look at these with some guidance tonight, but we can't, give you anything on these tonight. So if that's okay, that will be your next step, just to get that done as quick as you can and get back in front of us.
Yeah.
We meet again, when do we meet again, do you know, Gene? Tony, who's Gene? Gene's down the other end.
I'm over here.
Spreadsheet, but we might have to do something.
No, it's the second and fourth. So our next meeting would be October 12th. So, yeah, the next two meetings would be the 12th and the 26th. So if you want to come in for the notice of intent for the original project with the original DEP number, basically asking us so that you can finish. And we will give you an order of conditions just to finish the replication.
Right,
Then the following meeting, you can just, if you got the planting and so forth done, just come show us the design and so forth, what you planted with a list of plants, and then we can just sign off on that.
because that's a new filing anyway, so we wouldn't need to, we just need to refile that, certificate of compliance, basically, to get on an agenda. Right,
It has to be a new filing, because the other one has lapsed, unless we can talk to DEP and find out if they can continue something that's, how many years old? It's 15, 16 years old. You see, in
So,
there,
because so you're saying refile a new notice of intent?
To do the.
yes, the process is gonna be that you're gonna have to come in for a certificate of compliance on the first notice of intent that work was not done. That's to clear your deed. Because then you're gonna have to come in with another notice of intent to finish what you've done. Okay, what you've started. You can't work off the original notice of intent. It sounds crazy, but after 3 years, matter of fact, back then they gave you 6 years. And so, but we're not even close to it. I wish there was something else we could do, but this is just to go along with procedure and legal matters.
So when he files for that certificate of compliance on the old one to close it out,
What we're gonna do is, we're basically gonna say that the
you
work
need
was.
to file a new one?
Yeah,
is what you're gonna say.
you have to clear that up. The reason for that is just paperwork. You have to clear that off your deed. You can only have so many notices of intents on your deed, because that's still outstanding at the Plymouth County deeds. Okay? You probably didn't know it, but that's, if
No,
you
it
went,
was recorded, probably, it was never, no certificate of compliance was ever.
right, but it'll stay there forever.
So
So
when
if you ever go to
when he files a COC for that, you're saying you're gonna request an NOI for
To
the,
complete,
to complete it?
right. So, that's
So
just,
should we, okay,
Could we
And
tie
then-
that into this?
so yeah, that's where I think we're getting confused
Yeah.
is,
So
that's a good question.
file certificate and then tie it, because that's what he was trying to do, is tie it into this.
I don't see any reason why that can't happen. I don't see any reason why, then it'll, yeah. Yeah, that,
because
it'd be great.
that
It's-
whole
it-
project
that's-
is this project.
Right, so that you'll explain that on the notice of intent when you file it, that while you're trying to get this done, you're gonna complete a lapsed project.
Yeah, so the replication plan's being done now. It's not done, but it's being,
Yes, it's being
in the
done.
process of being completed. And then there's no more filling on this, it's just that we're
Right.
going to the partially completed replication to do the plantings.
Is there anybody from the
Yeah, that
board have a
makes
problem with that? I think it's, I think it's the
don't.
best way to do it.
Yeah.
Plus, you will have done what we would like to have you do.
Yeah.
That would be fine.
That might
That way,
feel-
that way you can you can complete your first notice of intent in that order of conditions. That'll be done. And then this will suffice with what should have been done,
Yep,
and that'll be fine.
okay.
I would make sure you note that on the notice of intent when you bring it back, that you're going to do that under the last DEP number, but that DEP number is closed out.
You
Right.
got that?
So just for my clarity, so are we filing a COC for the old project?
Next week, next meeting.
At the next meeting, we're gonna try to get that filed.
Right. For
And
work,
then-
for a job for a project that was not done.
So nothing was done,
Right.
essentially.
But on the COC, we're gonna make note that you're going to complete the replication on
Under-
the new DEP number.
Okay,
On
so
this
the DEP file that's been created for this can
Yes,
just be referenced.
right, and what you're gonna have to do is, just notify the DEP that there's gonna be some changes and so forth, because they have this, they don't have that replication, if you follow what I'm saying.
Correct, that's true, yep.
So, it's just to try to streamline things.
Yeah, and clean it up a little bit too.
Okay,
Yep, and that'll be, so that, now we're working,
that makes sense.
your deed will be clear, and the new project will come, and we'll also get that replication finished.
Yep, perfect.
Okay?
Good.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
We can't let you go yet, though. Does anybody have any questions on these plans? These are plans just to be looked at for right now. Is there anything that you would like to see done with these, before they come back for a final meeting?
I'm not a voting member, but when you said you were putting in retaining wall, is that in the corners and not along the back?
Well, so as it's originally proposed, we were basically doing just the parking lot, but it was basically, as you come out the rear door of the building, you were gonna be 3-to-1 slope down into the you know,
Right, so
into the wetland.
my concern was that with that 3-to-1 slope down to the wetlands, I mean,
Right.
you've got that 2.5-foot overhang that's within,
5 feet.
right.
Yeah.
So,
Basically, they brought this up at planning board, was that they'd rather see a wall along that whole thing
to stop the encroachment,
to
because
stop
that's
encroach,
just,
right,
you know, sand, dirt, everything just is gonna flow downhill, it doesn't flow uphill.
correct.
And
So we're gonna create almost a low point in the backyard and pipe it to the infiltration system. So that way, nothing's going directly off the back of the property, it's all getting
Right, 'cause
circulated
I mean,
through
I
the
know
system.
stormwater isn't our responsibility, but,
So they'll handle that, so
right,
Yeah,
it'll be
That's-
dispersed slowly.
right, but when I looked at these plans and I saw the retaining walls in the corners of each property, and I'm thinking that just kind of makes a,
yeah.
right.
So yeah,
Right.
it will be proposed along the whole back of the property now, on the newest plan that will be with the new submission.
And my question also was, well, even though it's not conservation, I was just looking at the plans in general. That drainage thing that you said that was partially already done
Yep,
and that's gonna be I know it's not our responsibility, I was just kind of wondering, how far did they go on that with the first project? And is that,
so they basically rough graded it and dug it out, but it was never, obviously, there was never a certificate of compliance,
Okay.
so it just stopped. It's kind of grass and rough growth now. Essentially, since DEP Stormwater Management says that if it was built after 1996, it's a stormwater management basin and not a wetland. And because it was proposed as part of that order that wasn't closed out, it's just, we're not using that anymore. Essentially, it's gonna be under a parking lot instead of in the corner of the property.
okay,
So it wasn't flagged as a wetland, and it's not a
because
wetland.
that whole area is kind of like its own isolated little wetlands group. I
It
mean,
is.
And stormwater and everything, I know it's not us conservation, but anybody who knows Brockton Avenue in that area near Portofino's knows it just goes. And
Right,
Highland Street abuts right back there with residential homes, and I'm thinking,
yep,
so long as not to displace water into somebody else's.
correct, yeah, so where the limit is, it won't be any change. And well, the system that we're proposing is actually,
Just for clarification, don't you own most of the property?
All the way back to,
Yeah, so,
Highland?
pretty close, yeah, to the residential area.
Gotcha, yeah, that's Highland up off,
so just,
High Street.
basically, he's controlling his own water.
Okay, but even still, I
No,
mean.
no, I understand exactly what you're asking and so
Yeah.
forth, but just for clarification, I happen to know the area in,
Oh, I live right down in that area, so
Okay.
that's why, I mean, I'm on Nile Street, right down the street from
Oh,
me,
sure.
so,
okay,
yeah,
that's fine.
so that's.
yep, exactly, so it'll be, it's still just a different stormwater management system there than there's now,
Okay,
or was originally approved.
My thing is just to make sure that it's real clear where everything is and how far the setbacks are from the flagged area.
Sure,
The building, the parking and so forth.
right,
And I don't see anything else. We've already discussed that as far as the replication. But before you come back, I would like to see the other project, get your certificate of compliance and have that cleaned up. I mean, and again, that's for your own benefit.
Yeah, we'll get that done next meeting,
Okay,
so we'll be able to get it on the agenda, so there's enough time to get it on
for the October
the 12th.
12th, I think so, yeah, we should be able to do
Oh,
that.
so we're doing it.
Yeah,
It's
it's
like a couple blocks.
couple of weeks away.
Yeah,
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 we-
that should be no problem.
the selectmen might be in here that night, so we might be in another room.
We're gonna be in the buffet room.
Oh, you already know that? Which one's that? That's over in the corner, okay. We'll be over the corner.
Okay,
Um,
yeah, that's no problem.
So there'll be no voting on anything
Yeah.
as far as this DEP number is tonight? This was just for
Information.
information, yeah?
Yeah,
So hopefully it'll go, you know, if it comes back to us first and we look at it and we're pretty happy and so forth where the building's gonna be put compared to where the flags are, then you just have to deal with planning board and so forth, because they have the engineer to go over
Yep.
your specs and so forth.
yeah, we have,
That's why they took the stormwater management and created the stormwater management through the planning board, because they have an engineer that can look at things as we are not engineers and so forth.
Right. Yep.
So,
So, to continue, should we continue this hearing?
this was just a hearing for facts and so forth. You are gonna come through with a, yeah, it can be continued.
Because we did notify butters as
Okay,
a
then what we'll
public
do,
hearing.
you'll come back with the certificate of compliance on the 12th, and then you want to also have on the agenda for this note, will you be ready for us to look at this for a notice of intent on the 12th too?
I think we will be, yeah, because
Okay,
we'll have the
it'll be-
replication done.
It'll be two separate hearings, same
Correct.
people, two separate hearings.
We'll have
Correct.
the certificate of compliance first, and then.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think that would be helpful, and I think that'll move everything along. Is everybody happy with that?
Makes sense.
It's fine.
All right, so we'll have a vote. Could I have a
Well,
motion?
I still have some
Go ahead, I'm
questions
sorry.
Sure.
for him, and I don't know if you have questions about the project as well.
Go first.
Okay. So I noticed that there was mention in the report about no certified vernal pool. But what about a vernal pool? Because the town of Abington bylaws does not require a vernal pool to be certified. So
Right.
are you aware of any vernal pools in that area?
No, no.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, Brad Holmes would have made note of it if it was, on the site at all. So it's just bordering vegetated wetlands, the
Okay.
resource area.
Because I just saw the certified vernal pool, and I think there's a lot of people go with that and don't realize
Yeah.
the town of Abington bylaws are stricter.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I don't think that was like, intent to, not that it's certified, but
Mhm.
there's none on the site that we're aware of.
Okay, good. And then it sounds like, from what I'm reading here, that a lot of the work is not going to be built on wetlands, but that during construction, you're going to be encroaching upon them?
Not even during
Or-
construction, no. So
Okay.
the limit of work's about a foot off of the wetland line.
Okay,
And that's throughout the whole site. So basically, we're proposing that there's a erosion and sedimentation control plan.
mhm,
Essentially, we propose to put in a silt sock along the limit of work, and at the entrance, basically, clean equipment coming in and out of the site during construction. And then after you pour pavement and fill the site, just make sure there's no sediment getting into the system or to the wetland.
okay,
It is a tightly constrained site, so it will, it will be basically, a tough site to build. But with the silt sock along the rear property, no siltation or sedimentation will get to the wetland, and then they'll just have to clean that out at basically the end of the process.
okay,
So, yeah, we'll be about a foot off the wetland.
okay,
That's real close, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
okay.
It's a tightly constrained site, but, I think it's a good project in terms of location and putting the site to use. That's been sitting vacant with the disturbed soil there.
So that retaining wall, it's still gonna be graded down? It's not gonna be with the same
No,
height?
so essentially, basically the wetland side of the wall will be untouched.
Okay.
You just basically dig right down and put your base at the limit of work.
Anything else? Just
now.
when we write up the order of conditions, make sure that we put that in there, that it's, a foot off, that we, whatever it's gonna be there where the working area is. So just,
Sure.
so it's on paper, and it'll be in the order of conditions,
All right.
okay? Besides that, is there anything else?
Thank you. Oh, sorry.
Are you here for this?
Just observing.
Oh, okay, then, I was gonna open it up to the public, there's nobody in the public, so I will, bring it back to the board and ask for a continuance on this. If somebody will make a motion, please?
I'll make a motion.
Go for it.
I'll make a motion to continue.
Okay, the motion to continue DEP number 084547 for 380 Brockton Ave there's a motion, a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
3 votes for, and we'll see you next meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Now, we have a, I don't know whether you've had a chance to read the letter, but the letter comes from town council through Liz Shea on Dale Street. And I'll just paraphrase what they're looking for. They're looking for us to do a order of conditions on the plans that we approved last meeting, so that they can go forward with their procedure, what they have to do as far as the stormwater management and the wetlands. But they, even though we approved it and they know we've approved it, they have asked for a certificate of, an order of conditions. So with that being said, and if there's any opposition, again, this is just, we've already approved the plans.
For the driveway and the house.
Yes. And they would like to have us issue the order of conditions for the driveway and the house so that they can proceed with the stormwater management.
Is that normal?
Yeah, that's the way we did not do the the order of conditions, because we thought that they would come back to us with any problems. But now that they've seen it and they're just gonna do and according to the letter and the information from town council, Liz Shea has asked us to do this so that they can, and this is 3 pages long, so I didn't wanna read it. And they have all kinds of other, citing all kinds of other, planning boards and so forth around Massachusetts. And this is, as a matter of fact, the plans, when the plans left here, that was the first time I've ever seen us approve a set of plans without giving an order of conditions. And that was kind of because of the new stormwater management committee. And I thought that's what the planning board requested. Matter of fact, when we did the walk, that's what we actually thought, but as it turns out, they would like the order of conditions. So if you want to take a moment and read that. And
Was this, oh, okay, this is a different, I remember there was a email about the driveway from town council before. This is the different one?
say again?
So, back in August, I think, early August or end of July, there was a email about the driveway issue from town council. This isn't the same one, this is a different email?
This is a different one. This is, and again, town council's opinion on why they want the certificate of compliance and so forth, because it's now, the planning board's creating 2 separate driveways, or the applicant's creating 2 separate driveways.
Mm-hmm.
So, 1 or 2 houses can't use 1 driveway.
Right.
And we just have to show that we approved it and the plans as submitted.
When we did the site walk plan and DEP was there, did he respond to you with any documentation of what his opinion was and everything?
Not
Did he
as of yet.
confirm? No?
Not as of yet, no. Nothing's come in from, no.
I mean, I know he was there, he looked it over, and, you know, he had some questions.
He thought that everything was in compliance.
Right, I just didn't know if he had sent any kind of written
He-
report.
No, he
But
is
he
not.
also said he wanted to see the stormwater plan
This is
before
true.
we approved anything.
That's right. He did say that. He said that they would have to show the 100-foot buffer, the floods, the
Right.
banks, and how it would, he
Right,
would
but
have to
that's-
follow all the
that's-
guidelines.
This is what's happened now. We don't have anything to, this committee has nothing to do with the stormwater management.
Right,
What we're doing is we're approving the two things they asked for, the house and the bridge.
correct.
And we're approving the fact of where it's gonna be placed and so forth within the wetlands. And the buffer and so forth within the 100-foot buffer. If it was outside the 100-foot buffer, they wouldn't need us at all. Then the stormwater management comes into process, and that's why the planning board has taken it over, because they have an engineer that will look at the plans with the applicant's engineer to make sure that everything's gonna be in compliance and so forth with what they want and what the Wetlands Acts for and so forth, as far as stormwater management planning goes.
I guess I was under the impression that the stormwater management would have come back from planning to us so that we would have a better understanding.
No, they will approve that through the engineer and so forth. That's why this is,
Yeah,
I know it's gonna sound funny, it's the planning board, but they are the stormwater management
Right.
committee now,
right.
not us.
Right, but then it does have to go back to us, right?
No.
The
Once-
stormwater, but that,
That's why they want the order of conditions, because it'll now end up with the planning board and the stormwater management to see if they will, we have approved where the two things are. We were under the assumption that it was gonna come back to us and then write the order of conditions. We will write the order of conditions on what we approved, then they will take and do it a step further on their plans and so forth on what they are gonna subject the applicant to do. That's how I look at it and how in other words, it's out of our hands now. And even if it came back to us, all we were gonna do is just write the order of conditions. So now.
So basically, if they have to make any changes to the location of the house or anything, they'd basically have to come back to us again?
Yes, so we'd have to start all over
Yeah,
again.
all right.
So, what would, and
I follow you,
I'm having a hard time with it myself.
yeah.
Because I thought originally we were just gonna write the order of conditions and send it over there, and then there was confusion. And with this is basically the first time we've had a stormwater management committee, and it's not us. So, this going back and forth, and the planning board, I believe, were kinda confused on it also. So they're streamlining things now. So we will be approving plans according to the wetlands. And then on this project and any further projects, it will go over to them, or maybe it'll come to us with the stormwater management already done. I don't know how it's gonna work in the future, it's just a little confusing right now.
Is there any way we could have like a joint meeting with the planning board for something like this, where,
In the
So they could
future,
answer our questions. I mean, it
Yeah.
seems like where we work so close hand in hand and we kind of overlap somewhat.
I'll
Well, why
talk to
couldn't
Liz
we
to
even-
find out if we have a project like this come in front of us again,
Yeah.
or if they can explain to us, what's going on. I would say there won't be a problem with that at all.
I mean, because even with the project that was just here beforehand, 380 Brockton Avenue, I mean, you've got stormwater that,
Yep,
it's not our responsibility, but yes, it can impact all of Mr. Fiore's property,
yeah,
which
I
abuts.
don't think, the planning board meets not as often as we do,
True.
so,
Well, even if we could have some written notes from them or their comments or something that we could refer back to and say, this is what they
yes.
said.
And that's why in the past, it's always been, people have gone to zoning,
Right.
planning, and then us.
That seems a little weird, doesn't it?
Yes, I always thought it should be,
Building, conservation,
zoning to make sure it's zoned
or
properly.
building, zoning, conservation if we're involved.
We'll not build the building departments last, but that would be, I always thought it should be conservation, just to make sure there's no reason
you
Right,
can
to
do?
go, right. You can or can't build.
yeah.
But now with, again, with us not having stormwater management. Yeah, there's,
I mean, we're sitting here with a gray area and we're like.
right now, yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
and
There's
the
a
whole thing
lot
is,
of moving parts to this.
Yeah.
this, and
And
Yeah.
I worry that I probably should speak closer to the mic.
you said
with my
what's that?
mask. Should probably speak closer to the mic since I have a mask. So, I worry that with all these different pieces going on, stormwater management, they don't have the same conservation focus. So they may go ahead and do something and not realize, oh, if they do this, that can violate, you know, some wetlands protection laws or whatever. So I like Paul's idea of working more hand in glove with them.
Yeah, I mean, I
For
I don't have a
this
problem with that at
project,
all.
it's so complex, so I just feel like we need to get it right, because there seems to be a lot of interest in the public and from neighbors, and I
public
just
scrutiny.
worry about things getting, you know, through the cracks, falling through the cracks, and then people get sued
right.
for things.
So, and the other thing about this is, I don't believe the applicant has actually brought his stormwater management plans and engineering to the planning board. So the planning board, they're trying to streamline this so that we get our job done, that we have okayed what they've asked us to okay. And then they will proceed on with the stormwater management, which a lot of it, believe it or not, is outside the 100-foot buffer. That's the other thing, that if it came in front of us, where they're gonna put some basins and so forth, or some detention areas and so forth, that's outside the 100-foot buffer.
Yeah.
So it would have nothing to do with us anyways.
Just a quick question, it just passed through my mind. Who is our FEMA representative for here? I mean, the
Planning
floodplains,
board,
they are in charge of the floodplain, the
yeah,
FEMA?
and,
Okay.
and matter of fact, the last time I had a conversation, the new FEMA plans have not been approved by the town. I think it's town council or whoever, so they haven't been approved yet either. I think they might have done it since my last conversation with them about that, but there was a new FEMA floodplain map brought out sometime in the last year or so.
If they were just rolled out in January, I think?
Maybe
The
it
new
was.
maps were rolled out in January, and each town was provided theirs and supposed to go through them.
Yep.
And I just didn't know who our FEMA rep was, so someone on the
It's-
planning board, or just?
It's handled through the planning board again. And the reason a lot of this has come about, like you just said, they have an engineer.
Yeah,
They have somebody that can look at this from an engineering standpoint.
right.
We don't actually have an engineer being paid for, okay?
Yeah,
So I think that was one of the things the town looked at. I wasn't privy to it, but I think the town looked at it like, okay, the planning board pays somebody to look at the plans an applicant will bring in, no matter what the project, whether it's the one we just discussed, whether it's the one they want the order of conditions on, a new one, an old one, whatever. Okay, so the planning board has somebody to fall back on. And
yeah. Well, one of my, you know, the issues is I suppose, these are questions I guess the engineer would be best able to answer. Now that we have this issue where we have over an acre of land that has been clear cut, we're losing a lot of trees. It seems to me that there needs to be some sort of study that's done on that impact
First of
about
all,
that.
that was outside the 100-foot buffer, so it has nothing to do with us. Nothing to do with conservation at all. The man has the right to do that
Yeah.
because it's outside the 100-foot buffer.
Yeah,
Even
Well, I
when
think-
Andrew Poignant was there?
There were spots though on that road that he was within the 100-foot buffer.
Probably,
that access
yeah,
road, you mean?
I'm not.
But you don't know what was there before, so you can't
Exactly,
really.
and as far as with the discussion with Andrew that day, he says, you know, that it has nothing to do with DEP, conservation, anything, because from what he saw, everything was outside the 100-foot buffer.
I'm just wondering what that impact is gonna be on the stormwater plan.
Again,
That's,
even if they brought it in front of us, I don't know. That's why engineers are gonna look at this to find out where to slow the water down, if there's gonna be any impact. And that, you know, they'll be putting detention basins in, whatever it takes at that point to do it.
Because, I mean, just the impact from the river, the intermittent stream, you know, it uphill, all that water flows downhill. It doesn't go up, it goes down. So
Right.
downstream, the impact to the other people, I think Mr., what's his name?
Ulwick.
Mr. Ulwick wrote a letter, and I was reading that, and other people down along in that area, I mean, I just want to make sure it gets done right. And
Yeah, that's-
like you said, we thought one way, and
Yeah.
now it's turning around to be
Right.
something totally different.
All right, let's
Can-
move on.
Can we continue this and try and get a meeting together, a joint meeting with the planning board, so we can just, one night, either they approve what they have to approve, we approve what we have to approve, and
Well,
go,
we've
because-
approved it. See, this.
Well, the
this-
order of conditions, I'm saying. Why can't we have a joint meeting with them? Why do we have to,
Again, if you don't want to, that's up to you. It's a vote. But, I'm just going by what was asked for us by another board. And, I mean,
it's not gonna speed up the process if they haven't even done the storm management plan. We can, it's
exactly,
all
I
gonna
mean,
be
yeah, I
approved, it'll all be
mean,
approved the same
Yeah.
time.
we can, I mean, the order of conditions, we can do that night.
Right.
If you want to.
I think
All right,
it's
so what
better for us.
I'll get in touch with Liz and find out when the next meeting is and find out if that would be sufficient and go from there.
Yeah, or if it can't be done, then the next meeting,
Yeah, okay.
we do it here.
Yeah, again, this just came today. That's why
Wow.
I was looking at it tonight. It's not anything that I thought of or wanted to do, or I was still, as of this afternoon, under the same impression that everybody here was,
Yes,
that it was gonna come back to us.
right.
So I will do that. I'll talk to Liz, see if we can go in there the same night and, you know, get enough people there so we have a quorum, because we have to have at least 3 as long as we only still have 5. Because, somebody just can't go in and go, here's what we decided, just so you all know that.
What was that, sorry? Could you repeat that?
I didn't hear.
Oh, can you repeat
No,
that?
no, that-
Oh, you can't? All right, so, can you repeat that, what you just said? All right, can you repeat that?
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
What I'll do is I will ask Liz for a joint meeting, and we have to have at least, as of right now, 3 people so that we can have a quorum.
Yeah,
Because we will conduct a meeting that night, if everybody's satisfied, to do the order of conditions at that meeting. And then that will be our joint meeting for that one particular project. But what I was making a point at is, I don't know when they meet, but we do have to have a quorum so that we can actually put these order of conditions in. One person can't go and go, here's
Yeah.
what we decided.
yeah.
Okay, that's fine. If we have nothing else, as far as building permits, there was only a few, and there was no problem with the building permits. And where's our agenda? I think that's it.
I think
The
Andrew
minutes?
forwarded an email that I had sent to the town. Did you get that one?
What's that?
Andrew sent you an email that I had forwarded to him with regards to some work done on Loganberry.
Yes, I was up there today, I took care of it, it was a water main break, and, the town, they finished the water main break, and the, town was gonna go up tomorrow, they couldn't go today because of the rain, they're gonna sweep the street.
Okay, but the contractor who repaired it with the cement truck, I mean, they should know that
It was, it was the water department, they just hired us, they just bring
And
a lot of cement.
they don't even know our bylaws that you're really not supposed to rinse that out and wash it down a stormwater drain. Even I know they're not supposed to do that.
Is that the issue that
Yeah.
caused the river to turn
Yeah,
milky?
they turned
Well,
white, yeah.
that's something else that's being looked into, because that's a long way away from Ames Knoll Park, and I thought, and I'm probably wrong, but I thought the street basins were, went into the sewer. I didn't know they would just float out.
Yeah, because on my street, the stormwater drain that's in front of my house
Yeah.
actually it goes right down to the end of my street. Do you know where Conway and Shurshine is?
Yeah,
Okay, right across the street, that wooded
Okay,
area, that's
yeah.
bog, the storm drain drains right into that, so
Okay.
that's wet 8 months out of the year, 9 months out of the year.
Okay. No, but anyway, John Stone from the,
Yeah.
I forwarded, I also had further correspondence with Andrew
Okay,
about some other things that the town should look into because of that, and
Okay.
I just forwarded that to John Stone.
yeah. I mean, I just figured it was state park, I'm like, I'm gonna send it to Andrew, figure I'd be,
Yeah.
you know, I never even thought to,
Right,
sorry.
that's okay, that's okay. Anyways, as far, if there's nothing else, we'll take a motion to adjourn.
Did we wanna bring
Oh,
up?
can we, at the next meeting, we talk about that land that Scott brought up yesterday at the meeting of Rockland Street, that the sale fell through from the auction, about putting that on the list of land that we took over 3 meetings ago?
That has to go through the selectmen first, that's why he brought up the selectmen.
Okay.
It won't come in front of us for a while.
Same as that other, the other
Yes,
property?
there's a process there that, and that's why he brought it up. It might go back to auction, it might not. So they're gonna, the selectmen will decide on that. But as
Okay.
far as us taking it over, it's not even close to us yet.
Okay.
Just one other question too, also on that 20 acres that was supposed, do we know where that is on Chestnut Street? Somebody said, I think
Chestnut. You
I
mean
know.
Rockland?
Abington?
No, the one that I brought up at the last meeting.
Yeah, the one he brought up at the last meeting, the 20 acres that
Oh, I don't
somebody
know
wants
what's
to
going on
donate. Do
with
we
that.
know where
That's-
that is on Chestnut?
That's,
I think I know where that is.
I don't know what's
It's
going on with that.
right when you're heading for-
Yeah, I think that's still in limbo.
Okay.
Whether they're gonna put it back to auction or not, I don't know.
Oh,
But it's
Well,
not,
the town manager mentioned that is a piece of land they do wanna look into acquiring, and,
again, you know,
All right.
before we can
Right.
acquire anything,
I'm just saying what the town manager said at the meeting, that
Right,
he said
but-
it was a piece that he thought was worth
right,
acquiring.
and then all we have to do is
Is
once the selectmen do their due process, it comes in front of us and we can just accept it, just like we did the other 54 properties that we took on.
Right.
So, but we can't jump, we can't leapfrog it, anything. It
Right.
has to go through a certain way, and so it just, you know,
Well-
bringing land up out of the clear blue,
Right.
is not necessary right now. It'll come in front of us if they say, that they would like conservation to take it over,
Yeah.
so,
Thank you.
okay.
And we didn't get the minutes from the last meeting?
We don't have any minutes, do we? We do?
I
Okay.
don't think I printed a copy for everyone. Do you want to hand that down?
Oh, there can't be that many.
Oh, we only,
It was a 14-minute meeting.
Yeah.
I only have one copy. I can make
oh,
more after.
no, that's fine.
Do you wanna just read it and we'll all
I
just,
think we're all supposed to look at it.
Good, you
Oh,
can read it.
Just, you know, we should
I'm
look.
sorry.
except for me, it doesn't matter, I don't have to.
That's why I didn't bring it up, because I didn't see it in the packet. It's okay, you'll be having this down to a science soon,
Next time.
okay?
Off with your head, right, for one mistake?
It's a learning process. It's a lot of learning process. God love you, you've got a young brain.
I'm good.
Good.
Okay, Mike.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll
all in
second.
favor?
Aye.
Okay, and,
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
okay, I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're all set.